The Great Chinese Famine, also known as the Great Leap Forward Famine, was a catastrophic period of Chinese history that occurred between 1959 and 1961. The famine was caused by a combination of factors, including drought, floods, and government policies that were implemented by Mao Zedong's communist government. The policies, which were part of the Great Leap Forward, aimed to rapidly industrialize and modernize China, but instead led to a catastrophic failure in agriculture and widespread starvation. During the famine, millions of people died from starvation or related illnesses, and the exact number of deaths remains unknown. Estimates range from 15 to 45 million people, making the Great Chinese Famine one of the deadliest famines in human history. The government policies that contributed to the famine included the collectivization of agriculture, which involved the pooling of resources and the forced relocation of millions of people to communes. The government also implemented unrealistic production quotas and encouraged farmers to use new and untested agricultural techniques, which led to a decline in crop yields and widespread crop failures. In addition to the failed policies, natural disasters exacerbated the famine. Severe drought and flooding in different parts of the country destroyed crops and further reduced agricultural output. The Chinese government initially denied the extent of the famine and did not provide adequate relief efforts, exacerbating the tragedy. The Great Chinese Famine had a profound impact on Chinese society and politics. The famine led to a decline in birth rates and an increase in infant mortality rates, and it shattered the Chinese government's credibility and legitimacy. The famine also resulted in significant changes to Chinese agriculture and politics. After the famine, the Chinese government abandoned many of the Great Leap Forward policies and began to implement more market-oriented policies, leading to significant economic growth in subsequent decades. The legacy of the Great Chinese Famine is complex and multifaceted. While it contributed to significant changes in Chinese agriculture and politics, it also had a devastating impact on millions of people. The famine serves as a reminder of the dangers of centralized government policies that prioritize ideology over the well-being of the population. The Great Chinese Famine also had international implications. The famine influenced China's relationship with the Soviet Union and the United States during the Cold War. The Soviet Union's criticism of the Chinese government's policies contributed to the split between the two countries, and the United States used the famine as a tool for propaganda against communist governments. Today, the Great Chinese Famine remains a sensitive topic in China. While the Chinese government has acknowledged the tragedy, it has also attempted to control how the famine is remembered and discussed. Some Chinese citizens have criticized the government for failing to fully acknowledge the extent of the tragedy or provide adequate reparations to the families of the famine victims. Overall, the Great Chinese Famine was a tragic and devastating period of Chinese history that had significant impacts on Chinese society and politics. While the exact number of deaths remains unknown, the Great Chinese Famine remains one of the deadliest famines in human history, and serves as a reminder of the importance of prioritizing the well-being of the population over ideological goals.